Okay, we're live, David. You can start, David.
Okay, thank you very much. Shall we start then?
Yes, you can.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. Let's call this meeting to order. Meeting of the Livermore-Amador Valley Transportation Authority for Monday, November 23rd. I'll call it to order and ask for a roll call of members.
Director Brown?
Here. Sometimes the space bar works and sometimes it doesn't, so I'm here.
Vice Chair Halbert?
Here.
Director Warner?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Very good. Item 3 is the meeting public comment. Do we have any members of the public wishing to make public comment?
I don't see anybody as an attendee today, and we didn't receive any public comment by email.
Then we'll move to item 4, approval of the minutes of the meeting from October 26th. I'll move approval.
I'll second.
We have a roll call vote on that, please.
Director Brown?
Yes.
Director Warner?
Yes.
Vice Chair Halbert?
Yes. Passes unanimously. We'll move to item 5, solicit public input on COVID-19 related service recommendations. Do we have a staff report?
Yes, we do. The Federal Transit Administration requires every transit agency to have a policy in place for soliciting public comments whenever you make a fare change or whenever you make service-related changes that exceed certain thresholds. Typically, it's 25% of the miles on a route. It does also, well, the regulations require each agency to adopt their own policy, and LAPTA's policy dates back to 2008 and is included in your packet. As part of that policy, if service changes are made because of an emergency situation, which COVID has qualified as one, and you make service changes that last more than 180 days, you are then obligated by the LAPTA policy to solicit public input on the changes that we have implemented as a result of the pandemic. So this recommendation is for us to hold a public input process and bring the results of that, the public input back to the board.
All right. Are there any questions of staff?
How extensive or complicated is it to do that? Do you have any latitude in how you go about it?
Yes. We obviously public hearings are out. I think the best method to do would be we can put information on all of our vehicles. We can put information on our website. We have email addresses for about 1,000 people who were previous riders. And then we also have a database from the Transit app, which is an application that people download to tell them when the bus is going to come the next time. And we actually just used those resources to conduct a survey of passengers regarding their impressions regarding, well, number one, were they still riding the bus following COVID? And number two, if not, what would it take to bring them back? And we had 1,000 or 1,500, somewhere in that range, people that we could contact through those two sources. And we got over 100 responses to the survey, and we'll be bringing the results of that to the board in December. So we can reach current riders through putting notices on the buses and putting flyers on the seats. And then we can, we're going to place ads in the Livermore Independent and the Pleasanton Weekly, and just solicit the best we can. I can tell you that since we reduced service back in April to the current service level, the amount of contact we've had has been minimal from people.
So what I was trying to get at is that, so this is fairly straightforward for you to do this?
I think so. Public hearings are of course out, and I don't know that a Zoom meeting, public hearing would be particularly effective, given the inability of many of our passengers, our current passengers, to participate in a Zoom meeting. They're even less qualified than I am at doing those.
Are you saying that's a low hurdle rate, Tony?
The bar is very low.
How would you recommend then getting that feedback?
Through
Just through what you described. These are people taking the bus currently, and
yes, and
people
that's
that have stopped taking the bus.
and those are the people who have responded to the survey that we just put out about COVID and the impact of COVID on their ridership. And we got 100 responses to that, which that's actually a decent percentage. When we did the fare increase a couple of years ago, I don't think we had 100 comments about the fare policy changes. So
when
So
people do call us to complain about something or raise something or mention something, do we capture their contact information?
yes, and that's where we get the database I was talking about.
Okay.
Part of the way.
So maybe within the last year or 2 years or 3 years.
Yes.
Move. So okay.
I guess my question was also, does that survey almost count for what you need to do for this other effort?
No, the regulations say that you have to kind of specifically indicate what reductions you've made and allow people to comment on that. Like the best example would probably be the 70X that runs between the BART station and Walnut Creek and Pleasant Hill. That's one where we've probably, I want to say we've gotten 2 comments maybe through our formal system so far about that route being resumed. There have been a couple of people who've indicated they'd like more service on the Route 15 at night. Some people would like more service on the Rapids. But our ridership right now just doesn't justify a level of increase. And so the staff recommendation going forward would be to continue at the current service level unless there's overwhelming public input that would make the board decide otherwise.
So I think anybody that's intelligent enough to read a newspaper or an online publication ought to be smart enough to get into a Zoom meeting of some kind. I think there are also public service announcement type, PSA type opportunities with, say, local radio or even TV stations. Hey, we want to hear from you. Are there ways we can get the word out without spending money on ads?
LAVTA's policy has some specific, it's called a toolkit of things that we have to do. The federal rules mandate that you put a legal notice in the paper. So we're mandated to do that. And so we will certainly do that. As far as other public notifications, PSAs are, it's hard to get PSAs from any electronic media where you've already purchased media in the past. And we purchased media from KKIQ, the radio station.
So then it's hard. They know you can pay, so it's hard to get a PSA out of them.
They know you got a checkbook, yes.
Okay. Funny. All right. Any other questions? Can we move to make a recommendation that the Project and Services Committee would forward a recommendation to the Board of Directors to open a public comment period and blah, blah, blah?
So moved.
Second, roll call vote, please.
Director Brown,
Yes.
Director Warner,
Yes.
Vice Chair Havert.
Yes, thank you. Item 6, Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan Update, information only.
Good afternoon. Before I go into my item, I just want to congratulate all three of you on your election wins.
Thank you.
Look forward to working with all of you in the coming years. Let me share my screen. I have a quick presentation. Share screen. So please note, this is an informational item. We're going to take the regular item to the board in December. The purpose of today's update is to give you a heads up that we're currently working on it, and we'll have the plan ready for your review and approval at next month's board meeting. So a quick overview of the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan. So in 2018, the FTA published the final rule that required all transit agencies that receive federal funding have to develop a PTASP. The rule intends to improve public transportation safety by guiding transit agencies to more effectively and proactively manage safety risk in their system. The plan needs to be approved and submitted by December 31st of this calendar year. So some of the key elements that are required to include in the plan consist of, it has to be updated and certified annually. The element has to be in compliance with the public safety program and the national safety plan. We must assign a chief safety officer that has a direct line to the accountable executive, in this case, the CEO/executive director. And finally, the plan has to be approved by the CEO and the board of directors. So where are we with the plan? So Michael, before I came, already started working on the plan. So this effort has been underway for over the last 12 months or so. We're using the FTA approved template to develop the plan. We recently submitted the draft plan to the FTA to get their feedback. And staff is currently working on putting the final touches to the plan before we bring forth to the board for approval on December 7th. So again, this is just an informational item, just put on your radar that we are working on a plan, and you should expect to see the plan in the entirety in the upcoming board meeting. Any questions?
Are there any questions of staff?
Tony,
Okay.
Tone, please. Sorry, if I could, David.
Yeah.
Is it, so just to be clear, for the plan, is it a annual or is it a 5-year plan? I guess I missed that.
It is an annual plan. So we have to update it and get approved and certified by the board and resubmit it every year.
Annually. Okay. All right. Okay. And do you expect to come back with details? I assume you will. But for COVID adjustments in future, you're making I know some assumptions for if you're looking 12 months forward for what post-COVID will be. You're able to make those with some certainty?
So for the current version, we're not making any forecasts. So just addressing the current condition. Again, the plan is revised every year. So if there's any revelation updates, then we'll incorporate into the next year's plan.
Because you're looking backwards, you're not looking forwards. It's a review of what's happened.
So maybe in the next discussion, I'll go into the plan in more detail.
Okay.
But the plan doesn't go into that type of discussion. It focuses mainly on the principle of how you mitigate risk for the agency.
I see. Okay. All right. Great. That helps. Thank you.
Do we have any goals or targets that we can set in terms of maybe improvements or reductions in hazards?
There is a section for performance targets. So they are included in there. That covers injuries and accidents. And again, I'll go into those sections in more details at the board meeting.
Okay. Any other questions of staff? Will we see this at the full committee? Okay.
It will be at the December one.
Then moving on to item 7, shared autonomous vehicle project update.
Okay. So share my screen again. So I'm going to play a quick video that we put together as part of the media kit that was sent out to the different media outlets prior to the start of passenger service.
LAFTA is proud to announce the launch of passenger service on their new shared autonomous vehicle that will circulate in the area around the police Diamond Guard Station. We wouldn't have been able to do this without the support of some amazing sponsors and stakeholders.
We're really proud here to know that we are currently the only transit agency testing shared autonomous vehicles on the entire west coast of the United States. Our community demands the best. This is the Tri-Valley. This is what people, they want the best. They want, efficient transit. They want clean transit, and they want safe transit. And LAFTA provides that.
This is the future of a clean technology, and this is a way to use 100% clean transportation and to reduce the pressure on the rest of the system. It's a vehicle, obviously, with no steering wheel, no brake pedal, no gas pedal. And what's really incredible is the technology on the vehicle. It has multiple systems that keep you safe, including GPS, the very latest, and LiDAR. When you're riding the vehicle, it's smooth and yet absolutely precise, using satellites and other features to keep you safe.
It'll reduce our carbon footprint. It's zero emission, and it's the absolute right way that we need to go. And it's so exciting to see the Tri-Valley region and LAFTA leading the country in this type of technology.
We're so excited to have this amazing here in our city of Dublin for our residents.
A vehicle like this is the ultimate way to connect people in that first and last mile, particularly with the BART station right here. And everything within a mile of this BART station is, it's where people live, it's where people work, it's where people shop, it's where people recreate. Here at LAFTA, here in the city of Dublin, we're trying to use technology in a very innovative way, in ways that will help our society. We're merging technology with infrastructure and innovation.
In short, this vehicle is very safe, very comfortable, and really the way of the future.
It's a new, better way to get around in the city of Dublin.
So again, passenger service was launched on last Monday, the 16th. The picture you see there, that's Herb. He's our first official rider on the SAV. And due to COVID, we do limit the number of passengers to one party, and they can have up to 3 people in that party, so they can maintain the 6-foot distance with the safety operator. For the initial period, the service will be in operation from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. We do have a link on our website for people to go on and make reservations, so they don't have to wait for their trip. And although the vehicle is autonomous, we do have a safety operator on board for all the trips. So during the phase 1 of the project, the route consists of, it starts from the Dublin station where you see the pin number 1 starts. It goes eastbound on Altamirano, and then turn left on Arnold, and then it will make a U-turn on Marno Way to come back to the BART station. In total, it's a little bit under a mile. So the funding that we received from AQMD, which was a little bit under $1 million, will be able to provide us with enough resources to carry out the pilot phase until probably the end of next summer. So currently we're looking at a plan to continue on with the projects beyond next summer. And that's what we're calling phase 2 of the project. So the intent of the SAV originally was mainly to provide the first and last mile connection from the BART station. Although the current route does provide a connection to the retail center right there off of Marinelli and Arnold, there's definitely more demand if we're able to cross Dublin Boulevard and go to that business complex on Central Parkway. If you can see the map on the right where the number 3 pin is. So we developed a business plan for this phase, and we start entering into discussion with both MTC and ATC about potential funding for both the capital piece and the operating piece. Again, the second phase will really truly provide that first and last mile connection. And part of that business plan consists of a mobility hub. And as you can see on the map on number 3, that's right in front of the Ross corporate building. And we believe that can you see the red pin drop on the map here?
Yep.
Here. So,
yep.
So that's right in front of the Ross corporate building. And you can't really see in this picture, but there's a fountain right in front of the building. We believe this would make an ideal location for the hub, which will provide both the SAV option as well as a bike sharing program and scooter sharing program to connect from this area to the East Dublin BART station. Here's a sample concept of the hub that we're currently considering. So it has a honeycomb shaped type of futuristic look to it. And this is not the concept that we're going with. This is just an idea that we came across. But basically, it will have a station for the SAV as well as docking station for the bike and the scooter sharing program. So one of the concerns with crossing Dublin Boulevard with the current SAV is the speed of the vehicle. Currently, it only can go up to about 8 miles per hour, and that could be a safety concern if we're crossing a major intersection. So good news is there are vehicles out there that will be able to get up to 20 to 25 miles per hour, and this is an example of one of them. It's called To Get There. That's the name of the manufacturer. And this vehicle is, they're currently working on bringing it to the US. I think it's currently available in the Netherlands. But in speaking to some industry insider, they believe that the vehicle will be available within the next 18 months in the United States. So that concludes my update.
Any questions? Very good presentation. Thank you. Michael, I appreciate the effort for having everybody participate in the filming of the announcement that we saw. I guess that's also available in to the press and on social media. Is that right?
Yeah, and again, we were just trying to put together some clips really quickly. They were requesting clips before we started giving rides to the public, so that we'd have a potential of them running at least a small segment on the SAV project. So, you know, I think our goal moving forward is to get a real robust set of clips and movies, small segments put together on the SAV. And I think that'll happen, you know, fairly quickly moving forward, especially as we start to talk about phase 2. So it'll give the whole board, you know, I recognize we didn't have the full board on those video clips, but we'll give that opportunity coming up in the near future for that. But I will say, you know, it's an exciting project. The City of Dublin, their staff has just really been aggressive at trying to move the project, which is super helpful. And we've also had discussions about potentially other phases, even in addition to phase 2. We've chatted several times with James Paxson about Hacienda, for example, and have even talked about potential phases in the Lawrence Livermore Lab area. So everybody's excited about it. It is a technology that's right around the corner. The speed's increasing fairly quickly on the vehicle. You know, in 18 months, when we go to procure a vehicle like the one you just saw on the slide today, I'm sure that it will be doing, it'll have an improved speed even over its 20 to 25 mile an hour speed today. So, you know, it'll evolve quickly, and it's fun to be right at the forefront of it.
Great. Love it. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Brown.
Yes, question. I'm a little surprised that a vehicle as expensive as this SAV that we have now physically cannot be improved in speed. So I get replacing it for something better. We do that with computers and many other things, but I'm a little surprised that it can't be retrofitted to improve speed. Is that
the current one we have? Yeah.
You know, that I think part of the issue is Easy Mile, which is the manufacturer of the vehicle that we currently have. They're evolving into different areas with the autonomous vehicle and aren't necessarily supporting this Easy Mile product that we have moving forward. We're actually leasing that vehicle. We had made a play to acquire it at one point, and we're still talking to them about it, just for the sake of preserving some history for the agency and for the area. But I think in general, the industry likes to get into lease agreements so that you can continually upgrade as the speed improves and as the technology improves. Unfortunately, Easy Mile's just chosen a path where we don't think that vehicle in particular will be upgraded speed-wise or technology-wise much moving forward.
I understand. And I know this year we didn't have Christmas parades and veterans parades like we normally do, but I'd sure like to see next year to see the Easy Mile, especially at its current slow pace, easily fits into a parade route.
Perfect for a parade route.
Even more interesting than the radio, it would be the Easy Mile, just going all over town, even if it had to be somewhat driven, to introduce it to the City of Dublin, and of course to riders in Pleasanton and Livermore as well. Getting it off the track, so to speak, and getting it out and about so it's seen, I think is going to be really important, so people feel more comfortable with the ridership beyond Herb and David. Yeah, so, all right, that's my comments. Thank you.
Good point.
I love it. Great. Send us a link for how to make a reservation. I mean, that's like a Disneyland e-ticket ride right now, I think.
That's right.
Maybe a B ticket or a C ticket.
I don't know. It's a pretty expensive ride.
Yeah, it's an expensive ride for sure. Hey, that also allows for wheelchair access, is that right?
This particular vehicle isn't ADA equipped. In other words, there isn't tie downs in it. It's considered an experimental vehicle, kind of like almost like a first edition out the door. So it's currently just a pilot project with an experimental vehicle status with NHTSA. So long answer is there is a ramp that's deployable, so you could move a wheelchair up and on board the SAV, but there's no tie downs, and so it's not ADA certifiable.
But if a wheelchair person wanted to make a reservation, could they do it and take it at their own risk?
Tone, what's been the policy on that, Tone?
Currently, I believe we are not taking passenger in a mobility device because there is no tie down.
Okay.
And that at your own risk stuff is probably would make Michael, the attorney, shrink back in his chair.
Totally.
I wanted to take a ride with Sean Costello, me and him, because you can have up to 3 people on it. But I guess that we won't be doing that. Okay, not a problem. Eventually.
Yeah.
All right.
He's welcome to check out the vehicle. Just he can't take a ride. He's welcome to come and take a look at the vehicles.
Okay.
Just can't go on a ride.
All right. Yeah, I don't want to disappoint him. We'll wait till we can do that. All right. Very good. Thank you for the moving on to the executive director's report.
Yeah, so I put several items in the report. I think most noticeable, Scott was really flattered and excited to receive the award from the California Transit Association, the Distinguished Service Award. And I will just kind of maybe take just a couple of seconds. I mean, we've received some really tremendous awards agency-wise over the last couple of years, and this one's right up there. I mean, this is you've got to do some really special things to get this award through the California Transit Association. And I would just like to carve out a moment. You know, we brought Tony McCauley on board. He has a lot of experience out of Denver, and he does all this stuff behind the scenes, all these applications. And it's just made a huge difference in the public perception of the agency and in the camaraderie amongst the employees. And certainly the board, I'm sure, feels excited and proud about the accomplishments. So I guess two kudos, one to Supervisor Haggerty, and then certainly a huge thanks to Tony. I do have a couple of other things in the report. Tony mentioned that we did a customer survey, very interesting findings. We'll have that ready for you at the board meeting. We talked about the shared autonomous vehicle. A quick update in the staff report on that Tri-Valley Network Hub. That's being watched really closely by the state. That will tee up funding for transit agencies like LAFTA and County Connection moving forward with express bus type opportunities. And then I, again, just gave you a quick update on the Santa Rita project, that the rapid stops. We kind of hit a problem area there in regard to some of the engineering work that our engineering firm did. It didn't anticipate a few things, and so they've had to go back and basically correct those, and then we'll have to go back out with the excavator, so to speak, and physically make those changes. Long story short, we're hoping to wrap up that project in January. It's looking like we're about 30 days off on that project based on the problems we experienced. We were hopeful to have that thing done by December 31st, but that's a great project, and it's really going to make a difference in that corridor. We've also been working on a couple of other projects, the shop floor resurfacing project. You'll recall we took multiple bids to the board that just never worked out on that project. Tone came on board and really worked with the contractors to get a great bid. So we've got that project basically done. You can see the big difference it makes in the shop floor. And then we had talked to the board about Transit App, which is the app people use to basically ride our bus system to schedule rides. And we had worked with the transit app folks to basically have in real time the count of how many people were on board the buses. And so you can see in this example, this under transit app, this little window of the app, where in this particular case for this ride, you could see that the bus was not crowded. So there's different thresholds for not crowded, sort of crowded, and then full. Just an easy way for people to generally get an idea of the capacity on the buses. So that's been a huge hit. And then Tone's been working with Transit App to also, at the conclusion of rides, give riders an opportunity to rate the ride, much like you do with an Uber or a Lyft ride. You can hit 1 of 5 stars and then leave a quick comment. We're coming up with the same idea for Wheels, which will be first, first for this app, which is really nationwide. So we're kind of pioneering what we're doing with that rating system. But long story short, we're really interested in what the customer's thinking of the ride, and we are wanting to get that information in real time. And this will allow us really to just look at any time we want to look or get some level of a notification when comments come in, to be able to spot opportunities to either thank the driver for going way above and beyond, or to identify a problem and fix it really quickly. I did have one other thing. It's not in the staff report, but I thought it might be important to talk about. As you know, we have an RFP that has been out for paratransit services, and we received 4 proposals. We've been evaluating those proposals. At the same time, we've been having discussions with County Connection about how do we get paratransit to be more convenient for the rider. And so those discussions have evolved into what it would look like if we were to basically just have one area for County Connection and Wheels and do a joint procurement for paratransit services, so that if you were a Wheels rider and you needed to go up to Walnut Creek, for example, for some kind of specialized medical care, you wouldn't necessarily be dealing with 2 agencies. You'd have one call center. You'd have one reservationist, which would handle the reservation, and you wouldn't have a need to transfer vehicles. So long story short, I think we'll bring more information to you at the board meeting. We have a really important meeting tomorrow where we really bring together a lot of information, County Connection and our Wheels executive team, to talk about that potential arrangement for paratransit. But I wanted to make sure you knew that behind the scenes, we were evaluating proposals. We're getting ready to move forward, but we certainly also spotted a unique opportunity that we wanted to flush out a little bit. And with that, I'll conclude. And if you have any questions or comments, be happy to answer them.
Any other comments for the Executive Director, Commissioner Brown?
Sure, I'm off. Michael, thank you. I anxiously await the Santa Rita bus stops, but you stated there is an engineering error and may cause for some excavation. My question to you is that error based on the contractor? And are we covering that error on their part? Because if they became the contractor on a low bid and they did not fully bid the project, that would not be a good business decision on behalf of LABTA.
Yeah, so I think the error that was made had to do with design work on the footing for the medallion sign. We've been working with the engineering firm and have been working with them towards a conclusion where they would remedy at their cost.
Thank you. Remedy at their cost was the magic answer.
You got it. I should have just said that up front.
This is their mistake. Yeah. Okay. That
Great
was my
point.
question.
Great point. Great point. Anything else, Commissioner Werner?
Oh, I would just want to say thank you. It's a good report, lots of great progress, and enjoy your holiday.
Michael, I'd like to go back to the beginning when you mentioned the wonderful awards that we've received. You made a comment that it's good for morale, and I would like to dig deeper on that and to suggest or just raise, could we really make sure that every member of the organization knows, give them a little pin that they could wear, or give them some kind of a, we're number one kind of a thought in their mind, that they understand just what a special agency they've helped to create. Because everybody has helped to make the agency as good as it is, from every bus driver and every mechanic and everybody in the organization. Number one. Number two, we've had great partners with MTC, with ACTC, with the Bay Area Air Quality Management District, and not bragging so much, but rather thanking them for being such good partners that have helped us to shine, and just let them know that we thank them for the support they've given us over the years to allow us to win this. It also serves as a way to let them know that we're number one, but that we, the collective, we, all of us, share in this success, because we have great partners. And I would just encourage us to do that over the next couple of months, to find ways to do that, because that's when we will continue to receive their support. We will continue to receive
Funding.
and things like that. It's just a good virtuous cycle upward, I guess, if we do that. What do you think? Can we do that?
Yeah, and I should have told you what we have currently planned. And Tony, if you're still on the Zoom call, you and Tamara have been working, kind of around the clock on what we're doing tomorrow in regard to the award. I mean, Tony, can you take a couple of seconds and just update the committee members?
Sure. So usually around this time of the year, we have a Thanksgiving lunch for all the employees. This year being a little different, there's no buffets, there's no bringing in food, but that's not going to stop us from doing that. And we're going to use individually packaged lunches that will be given out to all the employees. And we're using the same occasion to help to celebrate our most recent award, the APTA Outstanding Transit Agency of the Year. And I happen to have, I don't know how this will show up, but let's see. I don't know where my camera is.
You're like disappearing
There.
in the background.
Yeah.
Come close,
Oh.
farther close.
It's cool.
Tony,
See how neat that was?
Tony, you take out your the background, it'll come across better.
Oh, okay. Stop video. No.
So to put it where your head was.
I told you this was a very low bar for me to,
You're so smart. You can do this.
no, I don't, well, okay. Let me try. No background. Just trust me. They are insulated backpacks, and they have embroidered on them North America's Transit Agency of the Year 2020, and then it has our logo. And then no celebration in the year 2020 would be complete without some sort of face covering. And so we had special neck gaiters made up that have our logo, and then also have all three of the awards we've won in the last 3 years: California Public Transit Agency of the Year 2018, 2019, and then Transit Agency of the Year North America in 2020. And so all the employees will be getting these insulated bags, the neck gaiter, and a turkey sandwich, some pumpkin pie, and some other goodies tomorrow when they start work.
Great.
Let us know if you have any of those extras for your board members.
We certainly do.
That'd be great. What is a neck gaiter? I'm sorry. It must be a football term or something.
It's almost like a neck scarf that you put up like this, and then you can.
Oh, it's like a mask then from
It
your
is a
neck.
mask that sits
Oh.
around your neck, and it's and it goes up over your face and then back down.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a 2020 term I had not heard before. Thank you.
Yep.
So with all the awards, you're
Woo.
going to have to send us an updated background.
Well,
That's right.
if you look at mine, it says North America's Transit
I
Agency.
saw that, but look at ours.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
the folks in the marketing department get first dibs.
Awesome. Wonderful.
Anyway.
We are so proud. Yes.
Tony, it's great, all that work you did to get, to get those awards with the rest of the team, but that's wonderful.
Yep.
All right,
well-
item 9, preview of upcoming P&S committee agenda items. Anything to add here, Michael?
No, not at the moment.
All right. So item 10, I just want to talk briefly, not a lot, but I do know that Michael, you replied earlier. Bob, you've probably been in the loop. Carla, may be new for you, but the idea of perhaps being able to name the street Angie's Lane or Angie's Way or something like that. This is in response to the an email that we received from a community member who wanted to recognize a member of the public for the old A&W Drive-In Theater.
When I first came to town in '76, it was like American Graffiti, and the A&W Drive-In was one of the turnaround spots for the people going up and down First Street. You couldn't even cross the First Street in Livermore in the Friday or Saturday nights because of all that.
That just seems like a wonderful story of Americana that I mean, besides recognizing it and celebrating it and remembering it, I mean, that just seems so awesome. So if we can do it, let's do it. And I guess if that has to have any actions by us, Michael, let us know. But I'm very supportive of that.
Well,
sounds
I think the one thing is he gave several options, and we'll have to choose the right one.
Yeah.
Whether it's a lane, a way, or whatever. But what I missed in his presentation is what the name of the street is now. Is it called
name?
like Transit Street, or what's the name of the street now?
I think it's unnamed. I don't think it has one. And
Oh.
yeah, I'll send that
A
email
street.
out.
We
to
got
everybody.
it. I mean, he
Oh, you
sent
got
it
it?
to you.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we all got it. You might think it's easy to name a street, but it's actually very complicated. There's 14 different agencies that you have to notify, especially if there's like a postal service address involved or postal delivery of any kind. But you have to notify the fire department. You have to notify, I don't know, lots of if you want to change the name of a street, that can be complicated. But it seems like this is an unnamed street, and I don't even know if it has an address deliverable for postal service of any kind. It may be easy that we can just done without much complication. But at any rate, a worthy endeavor, I think.
That
Oh,
little,
nice
that
story.
road it's called Railroad Avenue. That's the one that goes back into the transit center is actually Railroad Avenue. So there's a vet's office in there, and it's got an address on Railroad Avenue.
All right.
We'll do some work on it.
Nothing's easy.
Yeah.
Well, the
All right.
entrance, the actual entrance to the A&W, that might have been one side of it. The other side is off of Old First Street.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's where the recycling center is at the moment.
Yep.
So where did we leave it? Michael, you're going to administratively figure out how to do it, and then it has to be sent to Livermore?
Yeah, I was going to basically just identify really clearly on a map what we were doing, and then basically get Mark involved, Mark Roberts, your city manager, on best way to move that forward.
Like it.
So pick some of the different names, given the story about it was, Angie's way of, ribbing everybody. So something like that. So think about which of the options is best.
You got it.
Very good. Anything else to matters introduced by the commission? If not, we have a date of December 28th. Is that right, Michael? For our next meeting?
We do, unless we don't have any agenda items. That's pretty close to being right after Christmas. So let's keep it alive, keep it on the calendar, but just recognize that one might be one where we let you know that it would be okay from our perspective to not have.
Very good. We'll keep it on the books, but duly noted that that could change. With that, we are adjourned.
Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Yes.